What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. Hope you're all doing very well. We're going to look at Spellslinger today. This is the Frost DK Arcane Mage tree. Those are the two specs that share it. So I'm going to jump between each different spec and I'm going to show you what's going on there. We're going to talk about the entire Spellslinger tree, and then I will show you gameplay footage of both Arcane and Frost. And I'll show you some of the synergies that I think are pretty good for both. TLDR on this tree is that it's fairly simple in its design, and it doesn't really force you to do anything different than what you're doing right now as an Arcane Mage or a Frost Mage. It just doesn't. It's going to add more layers on top, but there isn't really any more complexity coming with this tree. That's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's basically passive in terms of what it's doing. And it doesn't really function much more beyond that. Okay, so what is it doing? Well, for both Frost and for Arcane, you are going to be summoning these splinters. Okay, when you consume Nether Precision, or for Frost it's going to be oh, I can't remember right now. I'll just do Arcane first. I have so many words in my head right now. Basically, it's a normal buff. Oh, it's Winter's Chill. Sorry, for Frost. There, got it. So either Winter's Chill or Nether Precision, which are some of the very first buffs that you get on the tree. Nether Precision is, of course, consuming clear casting. So when you consume Nether Precision for Arcane Mage, you conjure 2 Arcane Splinters. Okay, the Splinters do damage, and then they do damage over time afterwards. So there's an upfront hit of damage, and then they embed themselves for 16 seconds and they do more damage. Okay, you can stack them up, and you're going to want to stack them because of the capstone. Let me show you that really quickly. Whenever you have 8 or more embedded splinters, you automatically cast Splinterstorm at the target. This is going to shatter all the embedded arcane splinters and deal their remaining periodic damage. Now, I don't really understand the second paragraph here, why it says this, but I'm just going to say it anyway, and maybe you guys can help me in the comments. So just work with me here. You get 8 splinters on an enemy, and then it automatically will cast Splinterstorm. That's going to explode the remaining splinters and do their remaining damage instantly. Then it says, conjure an arcane splinter for each splinter shattered, then unleash them all in a devastating barrage, dealing 6,000 arcane damage to your target for each splinter in the Splinter Storm. So I'm assuming that second paragraph is just kind of telling me what's happening with the first part, because I'm assuming it's not one after the other. I just hate the way that they've structured this. My brain just can't handle it, I guess. But basically, you shatter all the splinters, and it's going to do a bunch of arcane damage, okay? Splinter Storm has a 20% chance to get you clear casting, which is very, very nice. So that's going to, again, keep the cycle moving. Every time you consume clear casting, you get more splinters. When your Splinter Storm explodes, it's potentially going to give you clear casting. You can press clear casting again. It's going to give you more splinters. You get what I'm saying, okay? That's the whole tree, okay? For 8 seconds after being struck by an arcane orb, 30% of the direct damage dealt by your splinters will do AoE damage, reduced beyond 5. So there's an AoE component to this as well, which is very, very nice. This is your defensive node. I think it's really, really strong, actually. You can have Reactive Barrier, which has your Prismatic Barrier, can absorb more damage based on your missing health. So the lower you get, the better it gets, which is very, very cool. God, these guys are so loud. Phantasmal Image is really, really strong. Your Mirror Image summons 1 extra clone. Mirror Image now reduces all damage taken by an additional 5%. This effectively doubles the damage reduction that you get from Mirror Image. It doubles it. Okay? Your Mirror Image gives you 10% damage reduction, and you get 3 copies. That's 10 plus 10 plus 10. That's 30% damage reduction total. Okay? Obviously, it's split up, but I'm just giving you the total. This now says you get 5% more and 1 extra image. So 4 images at 15%. 15, 30, 45, 60. That's 60% total damage reduction as opposed to 30. So it actually effectively doubles the damage reduction you're getting, which doesn't look like it should, but it does, which is crazy. Very, very strong. Direct damage from your arcane splinters is a 5% chance to summon a greater arcane echo that deals damage to all nearby enemies. Okay, that's cool. There's a Splinter Storm. We talked about that. Casting Arcane Surge, which is your major cooldown, gives you 8 Arcane Splinters right away, which is automatically going to conjure a Splinter Storm. Okay, so that's very cool. You're going to get to do that right away. There's ways of just, getting more Splinters. During Arcane Surge, whenever you conjure a Splinter, you will conjure an additional one, which is very cool. Enemies damaged by Arcane Orb also conjure 2 Splinters, up to 4. You can see the theme here, okay? Splinters, Splinters, Splinters. Everything creates a Splinter, and then you're going to detonate them once you get above 8, okay? That's very cool. Each time you conjure an Arcane Splinter, increase the damage of your next Supernova. So you can make Supernova a huge burst cooldown if you want to, or you can have a more passive, consistent AoE damage going off. Every time your embedded Arcane Splinters are getting removed, they will explode. So you can either have consistent AoE damage going all the time or a big cooldown in Supernova. Get 2% crit, 5% crit damage. Okay, we love that. 40% increased movement speed after alter time, or displacement lasts longer and has longer range. Shifting power also grants you 8 Arcane Splinters. So we're conjuring Splinters from Nether Precision all the time. We get 8 Splinters from casting Surge. We get 8 Splinters from casting our Shifting Power. Okay, that's going to conjure the Splinter Storm. The Splinter Storm is going to do a bunch of damage. That's how this works. Okay, let's see it in action. I will show you this in action, and then I'm going to flip over to Frost, and I'm going to show you the Frost rotation as well. Okay, as always, you can conjure Evocation to get the Intellect buff going at the beginning. There's my Intellect buff. I'm going to go Surge right into Touch of the Magi. Then I'm going to do Missiles because I have Clear Casting. Bunch of Missiles. Okay, then we're going to do this. Then I'm going to do Orb into Missiles. It threw another Orb for me, and then another Orb into, there we go. And then I'm going to do Shifting Power. My thing detonated for big damage. Now I'm going to go into an AoE rotation where I'm mostly doing my Arcane Explosion into Barrage. I'm not even sure if this is correct. I think this is what I'm supposed to do. I'll do an Orb here in a second. You Arcane Mage Savants, you can tell me if I'm doing it wrong, okay? Please let me know if I'm doing everything wrong. Here's a Touch of the Magi. Oh, we got a proc. There we go. There we go. Lots of extra explosions. Lots of damage. It's all going into my Touch of the Magi. I did one GCD wrong there. Anyway, the damage is good. Look at my damage. It's actually really, really good right now. Really, really good. I can't see how much damage the Splinters are doing themselves, but it is what it is. We're okay with that. We'll do one more window on our Arcane Surge in a second here, but basically, here's my big gripe. Here's my big problem with this tree. I can't really tell what's even going on. I don't even know that I'm conjuring Splinters. I don't know what the Splinters are doing. I can't feel their effects anywhere. Honestly, I don't really know what's happening. And I think, to me, that is a problem. Okay? I think these Splinters ought to really be able to show me what's going on. And I just don't even know what's happening. I know things are happening, but I don't know what's happening. Does that make sense? There's other hero talent trees that are really, really good at showing you what's going on, right? Think about Sun Fury Mage, where I'm bringing down meteors and I can see the extra meteors come down, and I'm spawning a phoenix behind me, and that phoenix is blasting my enemies. I can see what's going on with those trees. Frostfire Mage and Sun Fury Mage, they just have such good, such a good understanding of what's happening. All of the Paladin trees, it's very clear what's happening. When I hit my wings and I get Herald of the Sun, and I'm connected to my Dawn Lights, and there's beams going off and hitting him. I don't know what's going on with Splinter Storm or with Slinger. Sorry. I just don't see what's happening. I don't see the Splinter Storm explosion. It's really not that obvious that it's happening. And I think, to me, my frustration with the Spellslinger is not that it doesn't do any damage. It's not that it isn't a good tree. It's that I can't tell what's going on. And to me, this is a massive part of why we're going to want to choose these hero talents. I'm serious. I think some people might laugh at that, but I'm dead serious. A lot of people make their choice on what tree they want to pick, on what class they want to play, on what spec they want to play, based on how it feels, how it looks, and how it feels. And I'm telling you right now, the visual sort of feel of this tree is basically zero. It's not really there. Okay, all I know is there are Splinters going off in the background. I hope you can see them going off occasionally, pew pew, but what's it really doing? I don't know. It's doing more damage, and that's great to me personally. And I know to a lot of players out there, having basically zero visual feedback is very, very bad for me. I'm not going to want to play this just because of that. I'd much rather call down meteors out of the sky and blow people up, and like summon a phoenix to blow up my enemies, and summon the herald of the sun and friggin' zap people with beams of light. Like, I would much rather do that, right? Why? Of course I would. If the damage is similar, I would much rather have the cooler looking one. Okay, I'm just saying. So I think they have a lot of work to do on this, especially I think SPLINTERSTORM. If they could fix one thing, Blizzard, please make SPLINTERSTORM look insanely cool. I need to see this enormous storm being conjured and like detonating and blowing up my enemies. Otherwise, I'm going to be, I don't know, it's just boring. Here's the frost side of the tree for Spellslinger. It's the same thing. There's nothing different here. The interactions are a little bit different, okay? Enemies damaged by your frozen orb as opposed to your arcane orb conjure splinters. Okay, very cool. If I press icy veins instead of pressing surge, I get 8 frost splinters. It's the same thing when you press shifting power, you get 8 frost splinters again, okay? If the target's under the effect of blizzard, then they're going to do AoE damage, very similar to the arcane tree, getting AoE damage as well. It's all the same, guys, okay? So I'm going to show you what this looks like from the frost perspective, and I'm telling you right now that it's just basically honestly kind of the same thing. But you will hopefully be able to see some of the splinters. I do think the only real thing I'm thinking about for frost is that it procs off of Winter's Chill. Okay, Winter's Chill is of course the thing that makes enemies act as if they were frozen, so then your ice lances do triple damage. That comes from Flurry, but you can get it in an AoE Winter's Chill coming from Coldest Snap when you hit Cone of Cold. Okay, so I think that talent wise you're really going to want to take Coldest Snap in order to get that AoE application. I also want to say one really quick thing about Arcane. I'm sorry I didn't say this earlier. The timestamps are going to be kind of weird here, but let me just say I think that Orb Barrage is actually really, really big as well because of the interaction with Arcane Orb, right? Your Arcane Orb will spawn 2 splinters, okay? And it also procs the AoE damage that's going on here. So the more Arcane Orbs that you get, the better, okay? You can spawn an Arcane Orb for free with your Barrage, and I'm sure you saw that when I was blasting with my Barrage. Occasionally, I was just getting a free Arcane Orb going out. That also, of course, generates a bunch of charges for you, so you can immediately press an Arcane Barrage and consume those charges for big damage, but also it's going to proc these 2 talents on the tree. So I just wanted to make sure I highlighted that. There's a very similar thing going on with Frost Mage, where your Frozen Orb is really what you're looking at there. So resetting the cooldown on Frozen Orb with Coldest Snap is really, really big because it's going to proc these 2 things here, okay? So let's look at this. Let's look at the damage. Once again, this is alpha. Just remember it's alpha. Blizzard Orb, Comet, Cold, Comet, Orb, Blizzard. Okay, we got to remember that. This is the cooldown uses. So we're going to go try to see the splinters coming out if you can. We're going to go Blizzard into Orb, into Comet, into Cone, into Comet, into Orb, into Blizzard. Okay, there's my little combo. Again, we're doing big damage. Then I'm going to pop my Icy Veins, and we're going to get a bunch of splinters from Icy Veins, which is great. Okay, and then we're going to do this. We'll do Shifting Power. Another Frozen Orb into Blizzard. Okay, into Comet. Here we go. Another Blizzard. Oh, I missed that one a little bit. I don't know what's going on with me. My bad. We're cooling down our Frozen Orb. Okay. I can throw my Flurries, and then there's another Frozen Orb there into a Blizzard. Okay. I think the consistent damage from Frost Mage is going to be a little bit better than from Arcane Mage. Arcane Mage, of course, always has that big burst window, which we love to see. But Frost Mage really does have that consistent AoE damage happening all the time, which is awesome. And the more orbs you can spawn, the better it's going to be. We'll call down another Comet. That's the rotation. Your rotation really doesn't change that much, guys. I'm telling you, it just doesn't. And in my mind, that's okay for a tree to do that. But I can't really tell there's splinters going on until I kind of look above my head. You can see there's a little bit of a few splinters. Maybe. Where is it? There's a few of them flying off the top of my head. They kind of just like look like icicles, right? So it's, again, Blizzard, please. I feel like I don't even know that I'm playing Spellslinger right now. Is the damage good? Yes, I think the damage is going to be absolutely fine. Whether you play Frost or Arcane Mage, it's going to be really, really good. I just don't know what's happening. I can't see what's happening. I can't see when the storm goes off. I have no idea. I have no idea really when any of this is happening, and that frustrates me because I want to play Spellslinger because it's good, but I also want to feel like I know I'm playing Spellslinger. I want to look at my screen and go, oh yeah, I can tell I am slinging spells right now, and it feels really cool, and it sounds cool. I can see the feedback. I can hear the feedback. None of that exists right now. It just doesn't. So I am disappointed with how this feels, but this is a good tree. Passively, it's good. It doesn't add any complication to your rotation. That's good. It just puts an added layer of damage on top of what you're doing already, and that's good. I just can't see it. Blizzard, please let me see it. Please. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this, especially you guys who play Mage, if you play Frost Mage, and especially if you play Arcane Mage. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Give me some, let me know if I did something terribly wrong, but I think this tree is good. I just wish I could see more of it. Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. I will see you in the next one.